Hi, everybody. This week we are discussing Ari. No. Hi, everybody. This week we are discussing Ari Aster's Midsommar. Midsummer. What is it? Fuck. Hi, everybody. This week we are discussing Ari Aster's Midsommar. I think everyone knows that being in a shitty relationship can be quite a burden to bear. This is a feel-good summer travel film about going on vacation, recognizing your self-worth, dumping a toxic relationship, and wearing fun new accessories. I'm really excited to talk about this film, to dive into it.
Zach, you are right about all those things. This is a happy, feel-good movie about, coming into your own, and especially a lot of fun fashion choices. But let's see if there's any deeper meanings in this movie, so we shall discuss. But I want to ask you, but is Midsommar good?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that
Let's do it.
today. But is it good podcast? Yeah.
Hello.
Oh, sorry, you go.
How are you? I was singing it. I was channeling my inner Adele.
All right.
Hello. It's me. That's all.
And it's me.
Welcome to the But Is It Good podcast. I am your host, Hunter Callahan.
And I am your host, Zach Olson. And this week we're talking about Midsommar.
Midsommar. We were so...
Midsommar, depending on...
Midsommar. Ari Aster blew our minds so much last week that we said, let's do one of his other films. It's the only one of his films that we haven't done. So
yeah,
we're going to do Midsommar. Before we start, real quick, please like and subscribe, share, follow, whatever you want to do. We are posting, actually, as of yesterday, the day that this is released, which is a Monday, we posted the May schedule yesterday, which was Sunday. So we got a fun month planned this month. We're doing some Christopher Nolan movies in a proactive lead up to Oppenheimer. So I'm excited, yeah. But please like and subscribe and share and tell your friends and all that kind of stuff. Email in, all that stuff. And we'll say this all again at the end of the episode. So stay tuned.
Tell everybody.
But Zach, I hope you're well. You ready to jump into this?
I hope you're well, and I hope you're ready to jump into this because we're jumping in right now.
I'm ready.
In 3, 2, 1. Sploosh. That was some good airtime.
Thanks.
We were hanging there for a while. So Hunter, tell me what your first reaction to this movie was. Spoiler free. What did you think? What's going on in your brain?
This movie to me was something else. I'm curious with time to see where this ranks in my Ari Aster filmography, if you will, because I really enjoyed it. I didn't like it quite as much as Bo, but I really, really enjoyed it. I didn't feel, I don't know. I think I'm comparing it to Hereditary too much. I'm going to start over and not compare. I'm just going to go based off this film. I really liked it. A lot of the people.
Hunter, what were your first reactions to this film?
Man, it's something. It definitely still has the trademark Ari Aster shock value in some parts. But I really liked it. I really did like it. I am curious to see with time, like I said, how it settles. But I think the performances were great. I just was really uncomfortable. But I think that's the good thing. I think that was the point of the film. There are some characters in this movie, I'm not going to say any names because I don't want to give any sort of spoilers, who I just hate, man. I just absolutely hate. And this movie really takes you on the journey of like grief and like it's almost like a self-sabotage type thing of like it's talking about like relationships and toxicity and like maybe that's not the right term, but it's like a you know what happens when you I guess put yourself. I'm not trying to say yourself and your needs behind somebody else
When you let yourself be gaslit, it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy kind of thing where you're like, oh, I don't deserve blah, 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 so I'm just going to like let this happen.
Yeah, it's there.
I don't know if that was the right word either.
Yes,
but yeah.
like that's what I'm trying to say where it's like, because I think everybody, I hope you haven't, but I feel like a lot of people have experiences in some kind of relationship like that. But it's really this movie to me is fascinating because when I started reading about it after I watched it, a lot of things clicked and a lot of things were like, oh, this is like a fairy tale, in like a really interesting way. But I just love how unsettling it is. I really like that about his movies. It wasn't as scary to me as say like Hereditary, but it was just as effective, I would say. So I quite liked it.
Okay.
I'll try and give like a ranking of my Ari Aster movies at the end. I'll try and give one, but I quite liked it. How about you?
First reaction, this is deeply unsettling, but like strangely hopeful at the same time, whereas neither Beau nor Hereditary have that element to it at the end, right?
That's a good point, yeah.
Stylistically, I love it. This reminds me of my family reunions out in Wisconsin with all the, the sacrifices and the flowers and stuff, right? I don't know, like Florence Pugh, I love everything that she's in. Big fan of her.
You love Don't Worry, Darling?
Yeah,
oh, actually, you did. That's right. Hold on.
I love her performance in it, and I did say it was good.
You liked it more than me.
Actually,
go on. I'm just giving you a hard time. Go on.
So even though it had Harry Styles in it, they kind of cancel each other out, By the way, I'm really glad that when we're doing Christopher Nolan movies, we're not doing the fucking Harry Styles movie.
Oh, Dunkirk.
I do like Dunkirk.
Yeah.
It's deeply unsettling. I think it does a really good job of letting events unfold, like we are as ignorant as the Americans that are coming to this festival, right? We're not given information that they don't have, if that makes sense. Whereas, other films might give us little hints at what's going on, but it sort of unfolds for us in the same way that it unfolds for them. I love Ari Aster's style, the way he hides little things in the movie, and we can talk about that. Where, the film opens with a mural that is essentially like the groundwork for the movie, but there's also when they're at home before they go to Sweden, there are paintings that are indicative of what's going to happen, and I love stuff like that, and I loved it. Like it's. It's weird because normally movies that make me feel gross, I'm not like, at the end, I'm not like, oh man, that was beautiful. But honestly, like I think we're both big fans of The Northman and The Lighthouse. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if he's at that level of like symbolism and style, but it gives me hints of that. And I love it. Like those are my two favorite like modern directors right now are Ari Aster and Eggers. So big fan.
Yeah, and that's something. This is still not spoiler territory. So I want to just briefly mention it. Watching this film after seeing Beau last week and then Hereditary, however long ago, a month. I guess that was like back in October, wasn't it? God, it's been that long.
Was it only October?
Yeah. Anyway, I love his camera work, and I know that he's not the cinematographer, but like how long it's held on a shot, the framing. Like there was one shot, and I have notes and stuff, but like when they first, oh crap, that's that's a spoiler. Not really. When they get to the festival and like there's this panning shot, and there's just so much
Yeah.
going on. Like you have to look
Yeah.
at everything. I love his direction. I love all of that stuff. So, yeah, Zach, you have the honors today though of doing movie in a minute.
And I'm excited to do it.
So pull up your stopwatch.
I'm pulling it up now.
And I'm going to sing you a song. He's going to do Midsommar in 60 seconds. The entire movie in 60 seconds. Midsommar in 60 seconds. Yeah. Movie in a minute. It's time. Woo woo. That was my masterpiece. You're still grooving, aren't you? I can see your head bobbing. Yep. What are you doing? Are you going to do it or not?
Yeah, I'm pulling up a timer. Give me a second.
Gosh.
We're not all as quick as you are.
How long does it take? It's the internet. Do you have bad
All
Wi-Fi?
right. So this is Midsommar in 60 seconds, starting in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we have Danny and her boyfriend Christian. Danny has gotten a harrowing email from her sister saying, like, I'm taking my parents out, blah, blah, blah. Christian gaslights her, says it's probably fine, go to sleep, I don't want to deal with your shit. They do die. They die in, like, a carbon monoxide poisoning. So Christian's a shithead. His friends don't like Danny. Danny needs to get out of that relationship. They all go to Sweden to, like, trip on mushrooms and just have a good time. And as we go through this festival of Midsommar, it becomes apparent that, like, they're doing some really, really, like, old school stuff, like jumping off of cliffs to not be old, and cutting people's dicks off if they pee on the tree of the dead, and, like, all kinds of crazy stuff is going on. So anyways, Christian has sex with this girl who, like, drugs him, and, like, they're all, like thrusting him into her. So that's going on. Meanwhile, Danny becomes the May Queen, and she's like queen shit. She's got this cool clothes, and she kills Christian. Well, not she doesn't, but she chooses him to be killed, and that's the end.
Yeah.
And she's happy at the end.
Go Danny.
Go Danny. I'm team Danny all the way. Like,
dude. So we can just piggyback off that and just jump right into it. Christian sucks. Christian's
the worst.
Just the worst, man. And all of his friends suck. And, like, Pele was like, oh, you're nice, but he's also, like, the worst because he's the one who, like, sacrifices them.
Well, hold on. Pele, I don't have a problem with Pele, and we'll talk about that.
Okay. But, dude, I don't even know. Like, I'm trying to look, like, my notes. One of my notes was like, oh, God, I hope I'm nothing like Christian. Just because, like, I was like.
You're not. You are not.
So... And I'm not saying like but I'm saying like
he's so gaslighty from the very beginning. Like he's gaslighting her first and foremost, but he also gaslights his friends. He's everyone around him. It's like he doesn't know how to.
The worst. I also cannot stand Mark. Mark is so annoying.
Yeah, I didn't understand why Will Poulter was in this movie, but I mean.
But like, how do you mean? Like him as an actor, or like that character?
It was just jarring to see him in this movie, yeah. Like, as an actor, based on, like, his other body of work, and then for him to be in this, it was weird. I don't know.
It's gonna be odd seeing him in Guardians 3 as, like, a...
Right?
Yeah, he's, like, jacked now.
Because the first film that I saw him in was We're the Millers. Have you seen that? Where he's, like...
I know about it.
He's, like, this dorky, like, teenage kid.
Yeah.
And now he's in stuff like this. It's just it's jarring to me. Anyways, we don't have to talk about that.
No, yeah, but like that whole friend group, man. I just like they just make me want to puke. But yeah, dude, Christian is like he's so detached, and it's like, look, that happens, but like I guess in the relationship, you know what I'm saying, like whatever, but
right.
He calls, like, she calls, and, yeah, he's just like you can hear it over the phone before you even see him. Over the phone, like, his voice, he just sounds like, I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's just
100%.
It's just fine.
And she says, I love you, and he, like, gives a deep sigh before he responds,
Yeah.
And there's no, like, real empathy. It seems like he's just going through the motions, even though... Like, after her family all die, he does, stay with her and assume it, like, allegedly, like, try and support her in whatever way he's trying to, but it's not like empathetic. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
but
It's not the same.
when you, and I know I'm gonna jump right to the end on some parts, but like if you look at the scene where she's screaming, sobbing on her couch.
Well, yeah. Right. That's this is her new family. Sorry, I don't mean to hijack, but this is her new like family that she's found, and they are showing empathy.
Yeah,
It's a little extreme.
Yeah, at the end she's screaming, crying because she saw a Christian, cheating on her with that girl, and all these girls are around her bawling with her. Or at the beginning of the film, her whole family dies in one fell swoop, and she's screaming on the couch, and Christian
He's just sitting there.
He's there, but he's sort of just like rubbing her back, and he like looks. You can't see his face. He's kind of like, just like, I have to be here. And then that like instance where like, he like checks on her, and she's like is supposed to be sleeping or whatever, like resting, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm just going to that party for like just like 45 minutes, but like." You just sleep. I'm just gonna go to that party. I was just like, bro, you don't know how to do this, do you?
Yeah.
And it's not even that. I don't think he wants to.
No, I don't think he wants to either. It feels like he's stuck. Like his character, and this is like the brilliant twisted mind of Ari Aster to me. His character arc, it's almost as if he feels paralyzed from the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's how he ends up, right? Mm-hmm. Is literally paralyzed, and then, but we'll get there. We'll get to the end later.
And like what's funny is like that in and of itself is a sad thing. Like that can be an arc that's you can have. It can
sympathy. Be, but he wasn't. Like he could have done something. You know, I don't know. Either like been, like actually supported someone if he allegedly cared about them, or break it off and let them. Because I think it would have been better for Danny. If, like, honestly, like, I feel like I've been in situations where I was grieving something in a shitty relationship, and then once the shitty relationship ended, I was able to better grieve because I wasn't dealing with that baggage. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, because, like, as soon as she calls her sister and calls Christian or whatever, she calls her other friend, and she's like, I'm leaning on him too much. I'm too needy. Like, I'm too...
And that girl, I don't know who that was, but she was like, "No, Queen, you're not."
Yeah, she's like,
"That's what he's there for.
That's what he's supposed to be
you.
for you." And so, like, instead of actually grieving and actually dealing with all the trauma that she just went through, she's like, "No, I'm fine. Like, I can't be too needy because dude, he sucks." Right. And like the entire movie, he sucks. When he steals Josh's paper, I was like, "Dude, you're the worst." Like, he's like, I'm going to do it on the hard guy. And he's just like, are you serious?
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, little mini rant there. We can actually go through the film.
No, you're fine. So her family, they die because her sister, like, poisons everyone with carbon monoxide. Just puts it in the room with her parents. But with her, she, like, strapped that thing to her face to, like, make sure it got in there, I guess.
And was apparently, when we first see her parents, they are breathing. Like they're still alive.
They are. Right, because I was thinking, are they dead in bed? But you see them breathing. So
theoretically,
there's a chance that if Christian hadn't gaslit her and been like, "Hey, it's fine, just go to sleep, stop bothering me. You know your sister's crazy." Yeah. That she could have either called the police or gone and found it herself and saved them.
Yeah. So there's probably some deep-seated resentment there.
I bet there is,
even if it's subconscious.
Right.
But,
right.
Yeah. So her whole family dies.
Okay, so we can get to Sweden pretty quickly. I do just want to talk about the party when she's not aware that he's going, and he already literally has a plane ticket because Christian's the fucking worst. We're just gonna say that every time he does something bad, we're gonna take a little drink and say Christian is the fucking worst. Okay.
Christian is fucking worst.
Christian is the fucking worst. So then it's like next day or something, and Christian, because Christian is the fucking worst, take a sip.
I need to get like a beer or something.
He is talking to his friends, like they're all up in someone's like loft, right? And he's like, "Hey, by the way, Danny's coming right now. I told her that she's coming to Sweden with us, but she's not actually coming. So like act like she's coming, but she's actually not.
Yeah, and then says to them, and you're all excited that she's coming.
Right.
Yeah, so that.
Because why?
Because Christian's the fucking worst.
Because Christian is the fucking worst. Okay. So then we get a little bit more dialogue from Pele. Pele?
Yeah.
Whenever I say Pele, I think of like the
soccer player?
Yeah, like the legend.
Pele?
But
Is it like Pale? I think
Maybe.
It's Pele. I think it's whatever.
I think it's Pele. Anyways.
Long hair dude.
And he is the first window into this, but everyone, once they get to, what's the name of the little?
Oh, I don't actually know what it's called. I know that
the city that they go to.
The Harga.
Yeah, they're called the Harga, Hallingsland. But all of them, when they look at Danny, they're looking at her with like, she's perfect. A perfect specimen.
Yeah.
Eyes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Did you get that sense?
Oh yeah.
That they're like observing and they're like, oh yes.
And they always say something like, "Oh, we're so glad you're here."
Right.
Like,
exactly.
We're so happy to have you. And they always say it like either like hugging her or like holding her hands or like eye contact. And I'm like,
or they're talking to the
want her.
group. They're talking to the group at one point when they get to Sweden before they take the mushrooms, and they're saying, "We're so happy you're all here," but she's holding Danny's hands and saying it like directly to Danny, like you're saying. Anyways, so he's like hardcore trying to sell it for her to come by saying like, you know, I'm so sorry about your loss. You know, my parents died in a house fire, which is probably the fucking ritual.
Yep.
Even though I'm not sure about that because at one point in the movie, and maybe we can just bounce ideas off of each other, but at one point, I don't remember if it was Pele or if it was like his brother, which, you know, just like part of the cult.
Which he does sacrifice himself, right? Isn't that the guy who dies?
His brother does. Like the guy that we meet who gives them the mushrooms. Yeah, he dies. And then the other guy was Ulf, the guy that got mad at Mark for peeing on the tree. Anyways, at one point they say like, you know, we have this festival every year, but the big one's every 90 years, and we haven't had this big one in 90 years. So maybe they didn't die in that fire.
Right. You're right. Yeah, good catch.
But anyways, so he sells it to her. Anyway, she has like a panic attack because he's talking about like his parents dying, and it just hasn't, like, obviously she hasn't gotten past that yet. I mean, how could you?
Oh, and there's a sick transition.
It is the coolest transition where she like bursts into the bathroom and she's on the plane in the plane bathroom having the allegedly like a very similar panic attack for a very similar reason. I love stuff like that.
She's also like relegated to like having her agony and her pain in private. You know, like she can't.
Yeah.
Out of fear of being like, oh, I'm too much. And that's why like you get to the scenes later towards the end of the movie and she's like out in public just like screaming, and it's just like this catharsis, you know. There's this girl on TikTok that I follow that I forget her name, but this is a little mini like tangent
cool
here, but hold on, but she did like this whole video about like being called like too much, you know, and so she made a sweater that says "Go find less." And so it's just saying, like, if I'm too much, you go find less. And I wanted to, like, say that to Danny and be like, you're not too much. They need less because they can't handle you. But she's stuck to, like, silently suffering because she doesn't want to, like, you know, be annoying or whatever. And that's just such bullshit. But back to what I was saying, that transition, I watched it, like, 3 times. It's so good. It's so good.
It reminds me of that one episode in Haunting of Hill House. You know, the one that's like just like a
brilliant,
continuous shot.
Such a good episode. That shot, that even if you don't like the show, the way that whole scene's done, it's like 2 cuts in like 40 minutes. It's crazy.
Right. It's incredibly well done. I love stuff like that.
Yeah.
And speaking of, like, that's a show that is a horror show but has elements of catharsis like baked into it. Where, I mean, that's what this movie is. Whereas Hereditary is just like horror.
Awful.
Just like you are fucked. Your family is like possessed by demons, and Bo is like being overwhelmed by your own fears and like being unable to, reconcile with them or overcome them. This has like hope baked into it because every time a fuckboy dies, Danny becomes more powerful. I mean, I hate to say it.
It's just like, it's one of those things where it's like, it just seems like in every single situation, it's just like, girl, you don't belong here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and there are times in life, when that's a fact. And it doesn't have to be somebody's being a dick, somebody's being rude. It doesn't have to be that. Someone can just be like, hey, we just don't belong together. Or, hey, I'm not in this crowd. That's fine. But it's like, even like the whole thing when she was like doing the mushrooms.
Yeah.
Like,
and she was like, I'm not going to do them right now. And he's like, well, I'll wait for you. But then he like leans on his friends to be like, oh, well, they're.
Yes. So it's like, it's just like, if like, let's take that. He could have actually, maybe he was trying to be like, you know what? Like, I'm going to wait.
For a second, but only for a second.
No, I think he might have done it because he felt bad, not because he actually was like, hey, I want to make sure she's okay. But then, yeah, fucking Mark. And I'm not even sure what he even said, but it was something that was like, maybe he was like, okay. Said in, like, he might not have said that, but like said in a way, he said something in a way that's so thinly veiled that he's saying, Danny, you're the problem. If you weren't here, we'd be having fun.
Right. And then Mark, or not Mark, Christian like works off of that because let's be honest, Hunter. If you, me, and Hannah were like at a theme park and Hannah didn't want to ride like a roller coaster or something, and you were like, oh, I'm not going to ride because Hannah doesn't want to ride. And I was like, well, fuck Hannah. It's horrible. But like, well, I'm not going to have fun if y'all aren't on there. And then Hannah was like guilted into it. You would probably be like, no, you don't want to ride, Hannah. We don't have to ride.
Like,
Zach, ride the roller coaster by yourself. You know what I mean? Like you would draw that line because you know what Hannah wanted, right?
Yeah. But
he's like, oh, are you sure? Okay, mushrooms.
Yeah, and so like what's funny is that Danny actually, I think she even says, and this is what a healthy relationship actually would be, is she even says like, I'm good, but like by all means, like you know,
right,
do your thing. And so let's take that instance, right? If I was like, if we were all three wanting to go to a roller coaster, and she was like, I don't want to ride, I'm not feeling great, I don't want to ride. And if I go, are you sure? Like, I would still like to go. Are you like, is this okay? Like, are you fine? Yeah. And if she's like, I'm just gonna sit here and watch, like y'all are fine, do your thing. I do have the freedom to go like, all right, well, I can make my choice because I want to do X. I've made sure the person that I care about is okay, and that this scenario is okay and safe. I'm free to do whatever I want but you know, with him, he's saying it in the sense of like, oh, well, then I guess I'll wait too. And it's like this like backhanded, like, I'm doing you a favor, so I guess I have to wait. And she even says like, no, like you can go ahead. But then I don't know. It's just this whole toxicity and his friends, man. Like, ugh. Sorry, I'm not sure where I was going with that. But what I'm saying
no, it's fine. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah, but like,
and why?
You know,
because Christian is a shithead.
Christian's
what were you saying?
Worst. Christian's the fucking worst.
Christian's the fucking worst.
But like, my point was, if I had said, you know, if it was back to me, you and Hannah, like on a roller coaster, and she was like, hey, I really don't feel good, like I'm not okay, and I knew that she was struggling with something, like Danny's obviously dealing with so much, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna stay with her. You, if you're a friend, an actual friend, you might say, "Are you guys sure?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, like she's not feeling good. I'm gonna stay with her and make sure everything's all right."
Yeah.
You'd be like, "Okay." You might be like, "Well, dang, all right. Well, that sucks, but all right, I'll go ahead and write it." You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why like his friends are they really even friends? Like, God,
no, it seems like
everything Mark says is like manipulation and just rude. You know, like he doesn't care about anybody.
Right.
Anyway, sorry. And why? Because Christian's the fucking worst.
Because Christian is the fucking worst. That's right.
Okay. Anyway, so where are we now? We're getting to
They
Sweden.
take mushrooms.
Oh yeah. Oh,
take
this
mushrooms.
is a great scene, dude. This is a great scene.
And they're like talking about. I guess they're just like world building a little bit for people that don't know that Sweden, the sun's up like most of the day during certain months. But they're like, why is the sun still up?
It's called the midnight sun or whatever.
Yeah. And our girl Danny has a little bit of a panic attack and is trying to just like get away from everybody. And she goes into this like shed with a mirror in it, and she lights a match just like. And her sister with the fucking tape on her face and everything is right behind her, and I scrumped.
Really?
Yes, I did. I did because I was not expecting it. I was like, oh, this is like disturbing vibes. It's not like scary vibes. But when she lit the match and she was right behind her, I screamed.
See,
in my apartment.
This is why, that scene reminds me of the grandma in the attic in Hereditary. In the sense of like, I don't think there was at least, there's not some crazy musical flair. Duh!
No, nothing.
It's just like, I really love how Ari Aster does that throughout all his films, where just like, he'll put it in the frame and let you find it. You know what I'm saying? And that's almost scarier.
Well, that was pretty much in the center, but yeah.
Well, no, like this one is like for sure you can see it, just like the grandma in Hereditary. But let's like when the mom is like on the roof, like on the ceiling at the end of Hereditary, like those kind of scenes, where it's like you have to be paying attention, but he doesn't like try to scare you. He just lets you be haunted by what's haunting the character.
Yeah.
That was a great scene. And then like. And this comes back later, but then like her face distorts and like because she's like tripping out, And that comes back later, where like when her and Christian both have had those drinks, where like the entire frame is like warbly and stuff.
This film does a really good job of like showing what tripping is like, know. Like she's sitting there. This is when she's become the May Queen. And her chair, like the leaves on the chair are like embracing her.
Yeah.
And the food is warping and all that stuff. It's well done.
When she takes the mushrooms the first time, there's like grass growing out of her hand and stuff and her feet.
Yeah. Well,
or isn't that the feet later?
Isn't that when she's like getting ready to start dancing on the maypole? So she had the tea.
Yes,
the second time.
I'm almost positive that when she takes the mushrooms, at least on her hand,
you're probably right.
She looks down and there's like grass growing out.
You're
of her
right,
hand.
because she looks down and that's when she like starts kind of freaking out. She's like, "Why are my hands grassy?"
Yeah,
you're right.
But before she dances around the maypole, that's like in her shoes. There's grass growing like out of her shoes and stuff. But, I saw this thing. This is funny. I'm bouncing around. Sorry. Just going back to what I was saying about how she just doesn't fit anywhere in this group. I saw somebody make a comment somewhere online that said, like, if you actually, like, watch her, all of her clothes are very baggy and don't fit her correctly until she puts on a dress from the Harga.
I think we watched the same 7-minute YouTube video.
Really? I watched, like, 4 because I was like, I got to, like, analyze this.
Because everything that you're saying, I saw in like a little like breakdown video about how she's ill-fitting, like all her clothes are ill-fitting. It doesn't seem like she's a part of that group. Most of the times when all the boys are talking, they're all in frame, but when she's talking, it's like just her, or it's like her and Christian, but they're like separate, like creating space.
Yeah,
and then. It's contrasted, like it sort of like eases into it, but the longer that she's at this like commune cult house place, the more she becomes a part of the community, and she meets the girls, and they get cute accessories for their clothes and stuff. Do you want to talk about the Atastupa?
Oh my god.
So
and Josh wouldn't tell us. He wouldn't tell us what it was.
So Josh is studying like Midsommar traditions, so he knows what this is. I knew what this was, actually. I was joking in the intro about how this is like or maybe it was in the whatever, like my family like traditions and stuff.
Because you are Swedish, right?
I have a lot of Swedish in my history. Actually, it's like 90%. So yeah. But so I obviously I don't have any like firsthand experience with this, but I've done like research, like trying to figure out like what the hell did my ancestors do and stuff. And so I knew what this was. And so when they mentioned this, I was like, oh shit, they're about to watch old people jump off a fucking cliff. You know? And that painted the dinner, like the way I was watching it and the way that they were looking at the elders, and it's like everyone knew what was about to happen, and they were going along with it because it's a part of, tradition, and it's just their ceremony. But you could tell it was like sons looking at parents, and just like knowing that they're about to pass away, and they were looking at each other when they were drinking the little drinks and
like
all
those
that
moments
stuff.
I had gathered, I was like, oh, this is gonna be a sacrifice. And then by the time they when they were all down looking at the cliff, it was easy to be like, okay, they're gonna.
Did you know what the hammer was for?
When he was still alive, I did. But like for me, it went from, oh, what's happening to how much are we gonna see? That's where because
quite a bit.
It doesn't hide it. Like you definitely get the vibe that like these two are sacrificing. Something's happening, and then they go up to the cliff. You're like, okay, they're gonna jump. But I gotta say real quick, just to touch on this, bravo to all of the, I don't know if they'd be considered extras or performers in this movie, but like the nuances of the movements and stuff and the timing of like that big dinner scene when they're all at that table.
Yeah.
And if you look, none of them are looking like at the people at the top.
Right. They're all looking straight, and it's like you rely on the person next to you sitting down to like let you know to sit down.
And it's like, but even when they like, to me that was cool, yes. But it was when they grabbed their silverware.
Yeah.
It was like dominoes. I was like, this is so good. Such a cool shot and such cool direction. So kudos to that.
I would assume those aren't extras; they're like credited.
Yeah, probably.
Because that's more nuanced than just like a background role.
Yeah. But anyway, yes. So yeah, this scene, man. This scene is something. I don't even know. The woman is smart, and she jumps face first.
Yeah. So what the hell's up with Homeboy? Can I read you? Actually, I know that we're not in, but this isn't a shitty review. This is just a review I found on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
So I just want to read this because this is how I was feeling too. Lemmy says, my favorite bit is the cliff jump. And my favorite bit about the cliff jump is the old guy just fucking it up. What did he think? He could just fall with his feet first like that and die? I mean, what was he thinking? His wife got it spot on, and he just goes and fucks it up. What an embarrassment. It makes you wonder if that was typical of him. We never find out much about that pair, but it was just typical of him to be fucking embarrassing like that. She's had to put up with decades of him making all these blunders, like going up to the loft and putting his foot through the ceiling or forgetting to bring their passports when they're about to get on a flight. I bet he forgot to bring the passports for the flight to the festival. I bet she told him that she knew he'd fuck it up and forget, like he fucks up everything. And I bet she told him he'd probably fuck up the cliff jump as well, and he did.
That's amazing. Yeah. But yeah, dude, like as soon as I saw him like jump feet first, I was like, he's not gonna die.
Yeah.
But it was really interesting. I'm trying to think about how they all like reacted, because I think Danny was just sort of like frozen. If I'm
she had seen
correctly.
one. She had seen one already.
What do you mean?
The wife fell first.
Well, no, I'm saying like during this, for most of that, I think she was shocked, but like,
yeah,
I don't know. Her reaction seemed not like resolved, but like almost like this is not news to me. My whole family just died. You know what I'm saying? Like she's like
right. I think she was just going through her own stuff, and so it was more of like numbness to it. Whereas,
did you think? Sorry, did you think that like Christian's reaction? Do you think it seemed? Maybe it's just me reading into it, but it seemed like everything he did was like an act to me.
Yeah. So,
I think he was grossed out. I think he was like shocked for sure, but
actually, I haven't seen, and I don't want to like shit on anybody, but I haven't seen Jack Rayner in other
Me
other
neither.
things, but I couldn't tell if he was acting like he was being shitty at doing everything, or if he's just a shitty actor. Like
Yeah,
I don't want
I
to.
get that. I get that.
I don't want to. But yes, no, it did seem like it was like he was acting. Like it seemed like he was acting in the movie, right?
Yeah, for the benefit of the character, let's say it's the first.
Okay,
Let's say that Jack is a great actor. Is that his name, Jack? Is that what you said it was?
Jack Rayner. Yeah,
Jack Randall. Let's say he's a great actor, and let's assume that it's just how detached Christian is from
Yeah.
everything. That he's just like whatever. But I thought that was really interesting. But yeah, it's gross. This is like the scene, not quite as disturbing to me, but it's the scene like in Hereditary where the girl gets her head cut off by the telephone pole.
that was more disturbing.
Yes,
Because-
but I'm just saying like visually, like because he doesn't hide anything from it. You get to see their faces
Right.
caved in. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
But also, is that? I'm taking a guess here. With the hammer, I'm guessing that was his family.
I would assume so. Well, they're all his family, right?
Oh,
That's
true,
like
true,
the whole
true.
thing.
Fair.
But I would assume it was either like the elders, because you've got like Father Odd or whatever his name was, and you've got wasn't the chick the I was gonna say the blonde chick, but
a lot of them are blonde.
a lot of them are blonde. But the lady that brings Christian into her office and is like, "Hey, do you want to have sex with our friend here?"
Oh yeah,
I think it might have been her. So it almost looked like it was like leadership
maybe.
of the place.
This is also
But it's
the
like
go ahead.
after one hammer hit, he's done.
He's dead.
But-
keep going.
All of them do it. So it is an interesting ritual. It's also interesting how the first one, they're all just standing there because it was successful. And the second one, this goes back to like the empathy.
Yep, I was about to say.
He falls and he starts groaning, and they
'Cause-
all start
'Cause
groaning.
His
And,
leg got blown off.
right.
Well, that's probably not why. I'm sure his bones were crushed all over his body. His leg just
Sure.
fell off. But yeah, this is our first instance of like their group empathy, if you will, where they're all just like feeling the pain, right? And that's interesting. I think in the moment that can just seem strange, but like the more the movie goes on, especially towards the end, you realize like it's a portrayal of empathy. And it seems genuine. Like at the end of the movie, like when they were dating, those girls were sobbing, like they're crying. you know?
It did seem genuine. Even though, like, if you think about it too long, you'll realize that they were like sort of complicit in the cheating that occurred.
Yep.
But
Well, it's
You know.
yeah, it's still like I mean, it's yeah, but for someone like Danny, that's what she needed. She needed a family to be like, we're here with you in this. But yeah, anyway, moving on. There's also we haven't mentioned them, but there's also a couple from London.
Connie and Simon, and they're not okay with this.
Yeah, so when this happens, they start freaking out, right?
Dropping
And then
F-bombs more than I do.
I think it's that next day where they're like, "Oh, Simon," they took Simon to the train station and they come back and get you. We don't ever actually find out what happens to Connie, do we?
Yeah, we see her in a cart. We don't know how she died, but
Oh,
she's in a
okay.
cart stuffed with hay,
Yeah, because we do see Simon.
so she's
and
dead.
Apparently, I missed this, but apparently when it's called like a blood eagle, right?
Yeah, he's alive.
he's
he's
breathing.
alive.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah, that's a thing that they used to do. It's like a execution/torture for your enemies to be like, not only did we beat you, but you're going to suffer in a horrifying way until you're dead.
Now, was that Christian hallucinating because he was still on the drugs? But I
It
did read
could-
about that, and it said that like people can survive it. Like the point is for them to be alive when it happens.
Right. Yeah, it
That's
could have been a
awful.
hallucination, but the only thing in that room that was moving was the lungs. So I think that homeboy was breathing.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. So they break the ribs. They
And then
like fillet the skin back, break the
Yeah.
ribs, and then pull the lungs out. And they do it in a way they're very careful about it so that you stay alive.
Yeah,
They don't want to
and-
kill you.
And it looks like like wings or whatever.
Yeah.
But we actually do hear. I think we hear Connie scream because it sounds.
We
like
do.
It's like a female voice. sounds
we
like,
hear
yeah.
the same scream from three different perspectives because you've got Christian who's like doesn't give a shit about it because I think he was looking at the redhead girl Maya at the time. I don't
Yeah.
remember. You have Danny who does look concerned, and
Because she saw her like trying to leave.
right.
Yeah.
And then you see fucking Mark, who again isn't concerned because the other girl was looking at him. The girl that he was like flirtatious with.
It's funny to me because Christian, who is the fucking worst, is just detached from everything.
Yeah.
But it's like Mark seems to just actively not give a shit about anybody or anything.
That's right. Yeah.
But like himself and getting high or getting drunk and getting with girls.
Yeah, he's the party guy. Like in the friend group, you know, you have the guy that doesn't grow up and always wants to go out drinking and just like party all the time. And they're like, "Why don't you ever want to go out with me, man? Why don't you ever want to party?" That's Mark in this group. And like anything other than that, he's gonna be pissed off about. Bugs, fuck Bugs.
Dude, he's so annoying. Like so annoying.
But he's not the worst.
He's
Why?
not the worst because
Christian is the fucking worst.
here I might get drunk, but I have my whiskey. I'll just sip it. I'll sip it lightly.
Okay.
Whenever we say
Yeah.
This could be dangerous.
You don't have anywhere to go tonight, right?
No, I don't.
Okay,
Unless I
good.
somehow magically score tickets to Taylor Swift, which has been going awful.
Hey, 4:30. Check Ticketmaster.
I checked it yesterday, dude. I checked it as if I finally got through the queue at 4:37, and it was already sold out.
Oh, okay. Well,
And they're going
I think
up.
Friday. I think
They're going
Friday was
up.
our best bet
It was
because
because they've gone up.
Friday there's two more opportunities for people to go. Yesterday and today, people are going to be desperate because if they don't see her, what is it going to be? 5 years?
And look, sorry, I'm not spending $1,000 a piece on tickets that are behind the stage.
Well, they wouldn't be.
can't.
The behind the stage tickets would be $600.
No,
The-
I checked yesterday. They were like $1,000.
That's crazy.
Nuts.
That's crazy.
Anyway,
Should have gone on Friday.
we should have got tickets when they came out.
I tried. I was
Anyway,
like, hey,
anyway.
do y'all want to go to Taylor Swift? And you were like, no, probably not.
I really didn't think I was like, hey, whatever. But like when I got here, I was like, oh my God, I'm so sad. Anyway, okay, where are we?
Oh, let's talk about a little bit about just like the lore surrounding. Like, there's that book. What's it called?
I forgot. It's like the Ruby Rapier or whatever, something like that.
Yeah, Ruby Radir, I think. It's their like holy text essentially, but it's rewritten with every generation of
By somebody who's
inbred. Like literally, they say
but-
inbred,
No, but they like use a word.
unhindered or like
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember.
unclouded.
Unclouded.
Yeah,
And it's somebody who is like, I say this with like delicacy, but like deformed and like, like they are.
yeah.
I mean, they're inbred, which is fascinating because like, there's not a lot of people like in the Harga, so like, they'd have to rely on outside people, I guess, like Christian.
That's what they said. That's what they
Yeah.
said at one point. I don't remember who said it. If it was the chick when Christian's in her office, but
Yeah.
somebody says like we have to rely on. Oh no, it was Christian was asking somebody. He was like, "Do y'all deal with incest a lot?"
Oh, you're
And
right.
the dude was like, "We keep a close eye on the bloodlines, and probably because they want the only inbred person to be the oracle, essentially,
Yeah.
for the village, right? We keep a close eye on the bloodlines, and so we rely on outsiders a lot."
Anyway, yeah, that whole scene was interesting, and it also just shows like such a, and this is a broader topic, could be like colonialism and like, American privilege, if you will, but like such a disregard for it.
Yeah.
Like Josh, who for most of the film isn't the worst. He's not like amazing, but he's not like a total douche. But he claims to be studying this and is like revering it and be like, oh, this is fascinating. And so like the one, like, they're like, do not take photographs of this. Like, this is your one rule. And he's just like,
Right.
never mind. I'm going to ignore that and do what I want. You know what I'm saying? But that also is broader. It goes to Mark when he pees on the tree. You know what I'm saying? Just like, I think Mark like walks in like vaping, whatever. And it's just like, there's such a disregard for like, oh, because I'm me, I can do whatever the hell I want to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no, you're going to experience this culture, respect it, you know, and like acknowledge that. Those are very broad themes, but yeah, it's fascinating because like, I don't know, it was just a selfish like. That was his one request: is don't take a picture. Even when Pell or whatever his name is said you could, he was like, just be very discreet. But on the actual text, he was like, no.
Right. Yeah.
He was just like, I got to do it anyway. And so he loses a leg. Eventually, we find it in the garden. But that's also when we see the guy wearing
was
Mark's
his leg?
face. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Whose leg do you think it was? Connie's?
I don't know. I just saw a leg. I couldn't tell whose it was.
But that's when we first see the guy wearing Mark's face.
Right. And I would assume that was the guy that got mad at him for peeing on the tree.
Yep. Also, I didn't realize this until late in the film, but when Josh goes in there to take pictures, I don't think that we ever get a name of the Oracle, but the Oracle is laying down
there
behind him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like laying there. So he would have been caught either way. Like he wasn't alone.
Right.
How did you react to the Mark's face thing?
But so the Mark's face thing was disturbing, but it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
The more you learn about our little village here.
Yep.
I want to know because someone opens the door and walks in and he thinks it's Mark. Right? And he's like, "Mark, what are you doing? We got to be discreet. Close the fucking door." And then he gets wailed over the head by the guy wearing Mark's face. So, or do you think someone else wailed him over the head?
I think somebody else was behind him because he was looking at the guy that he thought was Mark.
That's what I'm saying. So he was looking at the guy that he thought was Mark. So that might have been Ulf with the Mark face on, but then someone else hits him.
Yeah.
Right? Am I?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're right. And I wonder, was he wearing Mark's clothes?
I would assume so because dude thought it was Mark, like
Yeah.
straight up.
Anyway, that was.
Wait. Can we talk about a little bit about, and this is just like a theme that runs throughout, but when we were talking about the Atastupa, and we were talking about Danny's reaction, after the second one, we get like, almost like she's interposing her memories on like the trauma that's going on in front of her, and we see like her family laying there on the rocks.
Yes, you are right.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is super interesting.
We actually, when she becomes the May Queen, her parents are like at the table.
Yeah,
Did you
with
notice
her.
that?
And she's like going through the crowd and she's like, Mom. And then she turns around and people are like happy and like kissing her on the cheeks and stuff. And she's like, ha ha ha. It's like that was the point where either she's come to terms with it or she's like moving past it, right?
Yeah, and there's also like a thing where like they're all like a train of people like walking through this line of something. And apparently like in the trees behind her,
you can see
like, her sister,
her sisters
in the pipe.
with the. Yeah, that was in that YouTube video.
Yeah, which was it the Heavy Spoilers show?
Yeah, it was.
I follow him. He's great. He's awesome. I think I might send you this, but he's the one that I watched like a 30-minute thing on The Shining about.
Oh yeah.
And I just watched one. It was like 40 minutes on like Blade Runner 2049. Anyway, he's great. Look him up. But yeah, and like so it's kind of like they're always kind of there. You know, that's a central theme throughout. But let's move on because we're already pushing an hour. But in the third act, Christian gets a love potion. So it's just Christian and Danny left, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're actually shown on the tapestry like how this love potion is created. Like he takes a bite of something and he finds a pube, right? And then
so you've got the love rune under the bed. You have to like dream about him. Then you cut your pubes, put them in a pie, put your menstrual blood into their drink, and then they drink it, and then they become hypnotized. Which
his cup was tinted like a pinkish color. Everyone else was was yellow.
They
But also-
focused on that, and I was like, oh, he's drinking grapefruit juice.
What's funny is that that scene when him and Danny, I think I even said like, just break up, like just no, this was something else. Dude, all my notes, I have to read you just a few of my notes, okay? This is
Okay. Yeah, go for it.
This is here's one. It says, "Cool panning shot, bro. Is Mark vaping? Oh my God, Danny Christian, just break up."
Yeah.
And it says it's a bear. And then my next one says, "Did she trim her pubes and then bleed into a soup?" And then I said, "Shut the fuck up, Mark." That was my next one. And then wait, I actually have one that says, "Did that guy just look in the camera?" Oh, dude, that's the thing. Sorry, this is random. I love this. There's so many subtle things that he does. Did you notice at the, I don't know how to say it, but the cliff jump, right?
Yeah.
There's like an establishing shot of all of them looking up at the cliff, and the guy turns around and looks at the camera. Do you remember that shot?
Well, that was from Danny's perspective. That was the girl, actually. So she's like freaking out. She's like having a panic attack. And the wife like makes right before she jumps, makes eye contact with Danny. We didn't talk about
No. It's not that. Yes, that where the wife like looks over at Danny. But I'm saying like somebody like in the crowd. Like there's a shot that's the crowd up, so you see the crowd and you see like the thing.
Okay.
And it's
Yeah.
too far away to see them at the, you can't see the old people yet.
Right.
And somebody at the back of the crowd just turns around and looks at the camera for a second and looks back. And I was like, bro, I don't know what it was, but it like, I was like, that's, I knew, I was like, this is going to get really strange. Anyway.
Yeah.
I just thought it was funny. But that scene where they're sitting having dinner is where I think she's like, apparently Simon just left Connie and whatever. And she says like, I can see you doing that, And then Christian's like, what does that mean? And instead of like, this is the thing, man. He doesn't care. Instead of being like, hold on, no, like I would never. He just grabs his pie and he's like, and just like pouts while he eats it. I was like, go away. Just
Child.
go away.
Child.
Just go away.
You know what we say? Christian
Christian's
is the fucking worst.
Anyway, so yeah. She's drugged into the maypole dance, and he is taken to that weird white room where they have like the bear on fire. Actually, is like he's looking at it, and she's like, "Yeah, you can mate with our, I guess it's their daughter,
Our redhead, our resident redhead."
And they both are like given drinks, right? And so they both start hallucinating, and from here to like the end of the film, basically, there's something happened in the frame that like shows the hallucinations, which I thought was brilliant. There's some shots of Christian where I was convinced that his face was like morphed,
Bulging,
like something, and I was like, but it was so subtle that all it did was like make me question my reality, where I was like, what am I seeing? So if that was intentional, that's brilliant. But anyway, want to do the May Queen? Just
yeah,
a
we can do.
sprinkling for the May Queen. That was in my head the entire time.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, there was a sprinkling in her drink for the May Queen,
That's true.
and she's dancing, and it's like a mixture of joy and horror. At one point, she like decks somebody, and they like fall over and throw up. I don't know if you got that.
I did.
She was like, but I don't know. At certain points, she looks like unsettled, but then like 2 seconds later, she looks okay, and she's just dancing
And
the
then
night away.
they speak in gibberish. I thought that was really interesting.
Are they speaking gibberish or are they speaking Swedish? Like, is she saying?
I think wouldn't she be speaking? Because I don't think she knows Swedish.
That's the thing. I thought she just like learned Swedish like
Maybe.
in the moment.
Maybe.
But then they say like it's the language of dance. Dance. A jellicle cat.
But yeah,
Sorry.
oh God. Memory, all alone in the moon.
Snot.
So much snot all over the place. But no, this is when she starts to be like, she starts to find her new family, right?
Yeah.
And Christian is making his choices, and
If he's on shrooms, and he's being like pushed from the back. I mean, he did make the choice to like disrobe and like walk over there and
Yeah,
okay,
like
okay.
that whole meeting, I think, was like he was interested. He was,
Right.
he had detached himself emotionally from Danny a long time ago.
That
But
whole
then
thing.
then he like runs out. He's like ashamed and scared.
Well, I mean, there's a crowd, Hunter.
Yeah, that was a very interesting scene.
It was a very interesting scene.
It was
They're all,
funny because like I remember I was watching it. Hannah was out with some friends, and it always seems like in these movies whenever I watch, especially like Ari Aster, because it happened with Hereditary, where it's like she misses all of the context, all of the lead up, the first like
Yeah.
3/4, and then she doesn't get home, and I'm like watching it, and it's like that scene, and I'm just like, this is a weird movie, man. It's a weird movie. It like cut between Danny covered in flowers dancing,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then to Christian with like 12 naked women like having
Right.
some pregnation.
Right.
Yeah. And I was just
Let me
like,
tell you, I
I
didn't
was
think
like, it's
that
a
this.
weird movie.
I didn't think that this film was nearly as comedic as Bo is.
No.
But when he is tripping on mushrooms, and he is doing what he's doing, and that girl like grabs his hand and starts like singing to him, he looks up, and he's just like, he has a look on his face like, what the fuck is going on? And I cracked up laughing. Like, oh man, I don't know.
It's fascinating.
Yeah. But
And
then we also get like during that sequence when he's doing that, we just get a shot of the oracle, and I guess it's to like symbolize that like that this is how the oracle was made.
Maybe, and it's like there's like fertilization going on because like Danny is fertilizing the crops
Meat?
and stuff, and and so it's yes, they do meat like egg yolk or whatever, and just put it on there. But I thought one thing that was really interesting was that she had like an intuition of like what's going on in there, like what is that, and they're like, oh, maybe you shouldn't, and she's like, I'm the main queen, bitch, move. But I really loved her expression when she was walking to it. Did you notice it?
Yeah.
She has this like exaggerated frown. This just like, and it's like, like you don't even need to look, like and it doesn't have to be this crazy thing like, oh, he's doing some pregnation ritual, but it's just like, this, he's not it, right?
Yeah.
But you go anyway, and that was when I was like, I was really, at least on Danny's side, I was just like, she's just like just breaking, but to the point where it's like you have no choice but to be like, well, I'm not going to do this anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then is that when they have the feast afterwards, or no, that's before.
Which feast?
The feast is before.
She's the May Queen.
Yeah, because Christian has his clothes on.
Yeah, Christian is clothed, and they're eating, and they're following her at that point, right? So they don't sit down until she sits down.
And so
they don't grab her.
Yes, sorry. Last thing is that I loved, and this happens at the end again. But when she like looks at them and then realizes that they're waiting on her, she straightens up.
Yeah, she's learning her
like,
worth, girl. Like
yeah,
you don't need that fuck boy.
Yeah, I think my actual note was like, oh, Danny put her shoulders back.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, the food is like
right.
stuff.
They're tripping.
It was great. Anyway, I've been reading.
So she has to get on the carriage and go on the carriage ride. And that's when Maya is like making the trail of flowers, and then he goes and does his thing. And then she like throws up, and they have like the like empathy scream thing going on, right?
Yep.
And then I think at this point we're getting ready for the final ritual. So they're talking about how they have 4.
Christian's been paralyzed. He had the
right. Christian's paralyzed, and we have like 4, just like shoe-ins, 2 volunteers, and then Danny's gonna make the final choice between some dude who like literally gets his number called in a raffle, like come on down, like it's Price is Right, or Christian, and she has that same frown on her face, and I'm like, fucking choose him, choose him, kill him, kill him.
I
she
didn't
does.
think she was. I didn't think she was, man. I was like, she's not going to choose him.
She's
But
on
let
a
me just- let me
throne of
just-
flowers. This
let
is
me
the
just-
Florence Pugh's floral purge right here.
Let me just read you my last little bunch of notes. I'm going to read you. This is like maybe 15 notes, comments, right? And it says, okay, so Christian is just like the worst. And then I said, Christian, just shut up. You're so fake. And then I have in all caps, Christian, you suck. And then I have, okay, just fuck off, Christian. So like,
The last 15 notes.
To back. No. But like those are like those 5 are like in the last 10 or so notes. Like half of them are just like, Christian, you're just the worst. But yeah, she has this.
Even when he was in that bear, I was just like, oh, I hate him. I hate him.
The only time I didn't even like feel bad. I was just like, that sucks, man. Is like his face at the end is sort of like, but it's also kind of like, is this? I'm gonna say it. Is this the bed you made? You know, like when he's in the bear and like they put him like in the building and his face like he can't move, but he can like move his eyes.
Well, because he's been living in this world literally where he's like paralyzed himself, so they paralyze him and burn him.
Yeah,
That's what you do with people.
It's just like you have
You
to
burn them.
I hate to say this, but you have to ask yourself where it's like, what reason did you give her to not choose you? That sounds so bad because like obviously never choose somebody to get burned alive. But like he hasn't. He's awful.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
it does. Yeah, and why would she burn someone from her new family when she can burn her toxic ex?
That's the thing. It's like this is all like metaphorical. Don't burn somebody, but like she has the choice to embrace these people who have been empathetic to her and have embraced her and celebrate her, or she has the choice to burn this person who has been nothing but awful to her.
Think about how shitty that group of friends was, that they all die, and she's smiling at the end. She's like, thank you.
And yes, it's a twisted way to show it, but like Pele, or whoever, who actually is nice to her, remembers her birthday, gives her a gift. It's very kind.
He kisses her.
He
He
does.
kisses her at
He
one point.
plants one on her. He gives her a big old kiss. He's still there. He's part of that new family. And so yes, that's the thing is that this movie, like I remember reading that it was like a fairy tale where it's like, yeah, it's wrapped up in a horrifying package because it's supposed to scare you and be unsettling. But in reality, she steps into her own, you know, and is like, no, I am the queen. I am the one who can choose this and be in charge.
Yeah.
I did find it, this is not funny, but I found it kind of comical how like one of the guys who volunteered, like they're just sitting in there and the place
Ulf?
is burning and like
Yeah.
they look at each other and they go through, but they're like honored and like, oh, this is exciting. And then he just starts screaming. Like he was
Well, he's lit on fire, and then they all start screaming because of the empathy, and they're
Yeah.
all like flailing, and then she's flailing, and she's also looks like she's in pain because she gets it.
well, it
And then
seems
she
like,
smiles.
yeah, it
'cause
seems
she's the
like
May
there's this like ritualistic cleanse as a culture for them, or like they're getting all the bad out, and then by the end of it, Danny's like, I've done that, I already did that. So she's like, I am free. Like now I'm free.
I think she was
That's
doing it
fascinating.
through that process, but yeah,
Oh yeah. The whole thing is her getting the bad out. You know.
all the bad is burning in that hut,
Yeah. Exactly. And then it ends.
and then it's over. That's right.
Quite a ride. So, Zach, it's your episode. I'll let you ask it,
I'm trying to think. There was one more thing I wanted to talk about.
please.
Oh, so Christian, this isn't that video. So you know what I'm talking about, Hunter.
Yeah,
you already
probably.
know. Not Christian. Pele draws Danny a picture of herself and gives it to her and says, "This is something that I do on birthdays." And the day that she becomes the May Queen, he draws her again, because this is her birth into her new family or new life, I guess.
Yeah.
Cool stuff.
And that's what it is. You know, that's even if you're like in a relationship that's healthy and it ends for reasons that are out of your control, and that's still a chance to like redefine yourself. Like, but especially if it's toxic and you finally get it, man, people can stay in those for years years and years and
their
years,
whole life.
even like decades. And so like when they finally come to an end, whether through your own actions or because they just implode, you have to start over.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I thought it's really like these are the kind of films that I wish people would give chances to, because like when you really like dive into them, they're actually quite beautiful. Hereditary wasn't. Hereditary was just awful, and it was like life sucks and
In a
things are
good way.
terrible.
No, it's
Yes.
a good movie.
It's a great
It's
movie.
not awful.
But like Bo actually has some really beautiful moments, you know.
Yeah.
And then this too.
With
So-
the Mariah Carey. Oh, can we talk about the music in this movie, because it was wonderful.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. I guess that's all I want to say.
Yeah. No, I mean, all the filmmaking aspects of this film were just superb. And it's crazy. It feels like he's made more movies than this, but it's just 3, right?
Just 3.
Like,
I
at
will
least, like,
say
big studio films.
he did a. I want to watch it. I think it'd be cool to just like talk about it briefly at one point. But back in 2011, he did a short film about a man who has anxiety, who's on a trip to go see his mother, but he loses his keys, and it's called Bo.
Is it really?
Yeah, and he directed it. It's like 7 minutes long.
That's so funny. I have to watch that. Anyway, all right,
Yep.
let's wrap it up. Zach, ask the fabled question, or do you want me to ask you?
You can ask me.
All right. So Zach, is Midsommar good?
Yeah, it's excellent. So Bo, I think we can both agree. There's a certain audience for Bo, and so like you were saying last week, you wouldn't recommend it to like everybody you probably wouldn't recommend it to anybody in your family, right?
No.
Hereditary is the same way. Where like I have to know that someone's like really into horror and just like feeling gross to recommend that movie to them. I feel like this would be like the entry level Ari Aster movie, where
Yeah, maybe.
if you paint it as like a realistic depiction of like a Grimm's fairy tale, and just say like
That's
it's gonna get
that's a really good way to put it. Actually,
it's gonna get like it's gonna be disturbing, but like it does have like sort of a hopeful ending if you're fucked up like we are.
yeah.
Like this would be the one that I would be most likely to recommend to outsiders, if you
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
And honestly, like if I just look at how I felt after watching it, and I don't know, like the themes and everything, I like this film more than I like Hereditary. So if I was giving my ranking, I'm not sure about Bo and Midsommar, because like I need some time to digest both of them.
Yeah.
But I can say that I think I like both of them more than I like Hereditary. And I loved Hereditary. That's
Yeah.
nothing against Hereditary.
I think for me, and I think all the films are great. I think for me, Bo is a clear number 1. I actually, the more I sit with that movie, the more I think I really loved it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I think Bo's number 1. Upon my first reaction, I had Hereditary second. The more I talk about it, Midsommar is creeping up there to really close, maybe a tie. But my first gut was Hereditary. I liked it better.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think maybe it's just because I like what Midsommar is saying more than Hereditary. But they're all great. They're all great. But there you go. Anyway, shall we move on to Every Movie Sucks?
Every movie sucks.
Every movie sucks. All right. I tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to say one more and then read more than one. Okay, you said I did
Okay.
every-
Can we? Thank you. Thank you for being conscious of that. See, that's what you do in a
Yes.
relationship, Christian.
Why?
Piece of shit.
Because
Because Christian's the fucking worst. Can we do something different?
Yes.
Well, no, we're not going to do something different, because this is Every Movie Sucks. I was going to say you can read like a bad review, and then I'll read like a popular funny review. But most of the popular funny reviews are good. So I'm going to read
Okay.
bad reviews as well.
Okay. This one's kind of long. I don't want to read long ones. Here we go. We should have looked at these earlier. Walked into a living room. No, that's not funny. Here we go. I'll read this one. This is from Lithium, half star. This is definitely one of the worst movies I've ever had the unfortunate experience to watch. The movie was so slow that the process was torture. I couldn't even understand this subject fully. First half was really boring. I actually fell asleep twice watching it. In short, never watch it. It's a waste of your time.
Well, if you fell asleep, then how would you expect to understand it? Yeah, you missed it. If you miss part of the movie, then I don't know. So N.R. Hegan says, Jesus says not to hate, but he said that way before this movie came out. So
Here we go.
Oh, goodness.
Harry Rice, half star. Watched this movie expecting a horror film. Ended up with a deeply comedic comedy. Thank you, Ari Aster, for making the most boring comedy film of 2019. People falling off a you mean a cliff, to their deaths is a lot funnier when it's done realistically. Who would have thought that? That sounds terrifying, actually. Harry, I want to go talk to a therapist.
Choi Monster gave a half-star review and said, watch this with my mom sitting next to me. One of the worst experiences I've ever endured in my life. That would be pretty bad. With the just like the gore would be one thing, but the sex ritual.
Yeah.
That'd be. I watched. It was me, Tyler, and my mom, and we went and saw Superbad, like freshman year of high school, and that was rough.
I remember when me and Hannah first started dating. I've told you this story a million times. We first started dating, and it was like I'd never met her parents, right?
Okay, yeah.
And she was like, "Hey, we're gonna watch a movie at my parents' house as a family. Do you want to come watch?" And I was like, "Oh, maybe. What are you gonna watch?" She was like, "Something called Wolf of Wall Street," and I was like, "Nope."
That's not a first meeting movie.
And she texted me like 2 hours later, and she was like, "You suck. You should have told me not to watch that movie." I got one more. It's quick. Jules says, "I wish I could unwatch it." There you go. You got any more, or are you done?
Maya Raitala gave a half-star review and said, I felt really uncomfortable in the beginning of the movie, and then in the end, it was just like the beginning.
All right. Let's do some news and Braves, and we'll wrap it up. Give me a shindig song real fast.
It's time for Hunter Shindig. Ow, bow, 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 bow. Yeah, shindig time. Slap my butt, it's a shindig time. Time for the shindig.
Whack. There you go. Okay, news. I'm going to go quick. National Treasure, Edge of History, the show, exists.
Show?
I don't know if you knew that. It's real. It got canceled after one season, and people are mad because Nick Cage couldn't. It was canceled before he could cameo in it. There's a rumor that John Boyega is going to return as Finn in the new Ray starring Star Wars film, which is interesting because he said he'd never work with Disney again. So we'll see. Sony's
they dangled that paycheck in front of him, and
maybe who knows. Sony's Kraven, the one about Kraven the Hunter, the Spider-Man guy, which they still keep making Spider-Man villain movies even though they're all terrible. But we loved Morbius, so hey, keep doing it. It's going to be their first rated R superhero film. And it's going to introduce the Rhino, except not Paul Giamatti's Rhino from the Andrew Garfield universe.
Yeah, that makes
so
sense that
else.
it'd be a different one.
Apparently, Michael Shannon got Zack Snyder's blessing to return in The Flash, which got some more Flash stuff coming up. Back in the early 2000s, before they did Batman Begins, they wanted to do a Batman Beyond. You ever watch Batman Beyond?
Maybe like once.
So, but you know what it is, like the guy with the all-black costume with the red. Okay.
Yeah.
They wanted Clint Eastwood to play Bruce Wayne. Interesting.
Okay.
James Gunn has confirmed that he has plans for Static Shock and other milestone characters in the DCU. We got tons of trailers. We got a new trailer for Transformers: Rise of the Beasts, because apparently there are animal Transformers now. Got a trailer for Twisted Metal. You remember that old game?
Yeah.
Starring Anthony Mackie. Got a new trailer.
I'm telling you, Hunter, the new thing is going to be video game movies. That's superhero movies are out and video game movies are in. We got Rampage, we got Twisted Metal, we got Mario, we got Mortal Kombat 2 coming out, right?
And then series, because Last of Us, which apparently was amazing. I haven't watched it yet.
Series, yeah. Witcher. That's
Witcher,
the new thing.
Yeah. And that's part of the news. We have a new season 3 trailer, which is jarring because Henry Cavill finished it and is in that, but he's no longer Geralt, whatever his name is.
Geralt of Rivia.
So we have a new trailer for the Hunger Games prequel. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 has debuted at 80% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. I haven't checked it since. 80%. Guy Ritchie's The Covenant is certified fresh. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 is going to be released. Got moved up to July 12th. Chris Hemsworth is going to play Optimus Prime, and Brian Tyree Henry is going to be playing Megatron in the first animated Transformer movie in 40 years. Got a first look at Disney's new animated movie called Wish. Blumhouse and David Gordon Green's new Exorcist film is going to be called The Exorcist Believer. I won't be seeing that because I hated The Exorcist. It terrified me as a kid. I'm scarred for life. We got a new trailer for A Haunting in Venice. Black Mirror is coming back in June. Hugh Grant is going to play an Oompa Loompa in Willy Wonka or whatever. Wonka, I think it's
baby.
called, which is Timothy Chalamet's playing Willy Wonka. And then Oprah and Blitz Bazawule have shared their first look at their musical adaptation of The Color Purple, starring Taraji P. Henson, Danielle Brooks, and Fantasia Barrino from American Idol. And then we got a first trailer of The Equalizer 3, which is Denzel Washington. Our first look at Joaquin Phoenix and Ridley Scott's Napoleon. And we got CinemaCon news. We got our first look at Dune Part 2. We have Aquaman 2 poster. Beetlejuice 2 is being developed because, of course, we have a new Ghostbusters that's being developed. And then they did show a trailer of Killers of the Flower Moon, but it is not public that I can find. And then The Flash has a new trailer, and I'm excited for it. I'm going to just say that right now. And it was screened in its entirety at CinemaCon. Apparently, it is worth the hype. But I have been avoiding anything spoilery. And then we have two sad news. We have two people who passed away. We lost Jerry Springer, unfortunately. And then we also lost Harry Belafonte. So that's some sad news going on. But there's your news for the week.
Did you ever watch Jerry Springer? The show?
Him and Maury. Did you ever watch Maury?
Yeah.
Maury Povich?
That's I never really got into the bulk of reality TV, like Kardashians or whatever, Bachelor, none of that.
Yeah.
But those shows, I would be kick his ass.
Well, there
was an episode where, for whatever reason, Jerry Springer brought out KKK members, in garb, and the audience came on stage and just beat the shit out of them. It was.
That was the only thing that was on when you were homesick from school was Jerry Springer and Maury.
Or Price is Right.
Yeah.
So a couple stations over.
Obviously, you're going to watch Jerry Springer and Maury. But there you go. There's news of the week. Zach, give us a Brave minute, please.
Okay, so the Braves, it's Monday by the time you're hearing this, and by the time this episode drops, the Braves, after a weekend in New York, are undefeated against the Mets.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's facts.
Facts. 2 games have been rained out this weekend.
Oh, yeah, played 5 innings, but
Right. So the Braves have 6 of their 8 losses. We have 8 losses, 9 losses. It's 8,
9
right?
Losses. 9 losses.
9 losses. Okay, so
7.
7 of our 9 losses have come at home.
Yeah.
Which is okay. I don't mind watching my boys lose, We gave up one of those losses against the Marlins, Hunter, that you like to hope that you have one of those games a year, both ways, right? Where you're there's no way we can lose this game, and then you just fall apart in the 9th inning, which is what happened on Wednesday when we had a 4-run lead coming into the 9th, and AJ Minter and Jesse Chavez gave up 5 runs. And then we were unable to equalize or take the lead, and so we lost that game. But you also hope that happens the other way, where we're down 7-0 to the Dodgers, and then just fuck them up. Won't that be great when that happens?
Be amazing.
So the Mets, Phillies, and Marlins all have the same amount of wins right now.
Wow, which
is interesting. Yeah, so if
some surprise teams the Pirates are kicking ass.
Yeah, Pirates are kicking ass. The Orioles, who are going to be in town this upcoming weekend.
Yeah. Diamondbacks are in first place in the West.
It's an interesting season. It's interesting solely because I'm happy that there are teams that are being successful that were discounted, but it's so interesting to watch the media cycles in the off season. And this is the first year that people have been or it feels like have actually been gassing up the Braves like on national
Yeah.
television. But they're also gassing up like the Yankees and the Dodgers. And I'm not saying the Yankees, Dodgers, and the Astros. And I'm not saying those teams are bad. I'm sure. I mean, they have really good squads, but they've been underperforming. And they're not talking about the Pirates on MLB Network. You know,
No.
they're talking about the Rays, which the Rays are playing very well.
They're the best record, I think, in
Still.
baseball, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll see how this week goes. We have a doubleheader on Monday against the Mets, so excited for that. I'll be doing a lot of work at work
I'm sure.
when the Braves are having their
Playing
doubleheader.
2 games.
Yeah.
Well, Zach, that was so brave.
It's the bravest thing I've done all week.
All right, go get some whiskey. It's time for whiskey shots, and we can wrap this up.
Okay.
You know, while you're getting that, I saw Jack yesterday. Yesterday? Yeah, I saw Jack yesterday. And I can't see you. Your screen is... Oh, look at Athena. She's so good. She's so good. She's such a good dog. We need to have like an Athena segment where we... Here's the thing. All right, new rule. Maybe we can do it every week. Maybe we can just do it whenever we're in person. We have to drink Athena beer. We each get to have an Athena beer, and then a shot of whiskey at the end.
I've got Athena in my fridge right now if you want me to
There you
get
go.
one. Not Athena's right here. Don't think I'm wrong.
You have your dog in your fridge.
Oh, no.
Cool. Well, it's time for whiskey shots. I was saying I saw Jack yesterday, and he is healthy as can be. He looks great. I gave him a big old hug. But
Okay.
this is to whiskey. For those of you who don't know, this whiskey was my cat, our cat really, who founded this podcast, and she is forever missed. She passed. It's been like a year. No, it's been almost a year. Actually, yeah.
Has it really?
No. It's been almost a year since I found out what it was. That's what it was.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because I feel like it was...
I think she died in like
July?
August, I think. Yeah. But here we go. So to whiskey. I
To
have
whiskey.
my Crown Apple as usual.
My Elijah Craig. Hold on, honey.
All right, Zach, where can they find us?
Piss. Why does that hit so hard every time?
I don't know.
Maybe I just don't like
Okay.
this whiskey.
We're getting old.
We are getting old.
Almost 30.
You can find us on Twitter at BIIG Podcast. You can email us at biigpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok at But Is It Good Podcast. If you
Yes.
want to follow us, Hunter's going to have to give you our handles because I don't know them.
Yes, you can follow me everywhere at Hunter Callahan Music. Follow Zach on Instagram. He's never on it. At Zach2, the number. So Zach2, the number. The THA, future.31. Zach to the future.31. Please say hello, DM us, like stuff, follow us. We'll follow you back, I think, probably.
I realize that people may not know, but Zach is spelled with an H because some people spell it with a K.
That is true.
So there's probably a bunch of people following some poor guy. Or maybe he's like, oh, yeah, I'm getting followers. Zach with a K to the future.
Yeah, but it's
Dot
Zach's.
31.
Yours is Zach with an H.
Yeah.
Future. But there you go. We got Guardians 3 next week.
That's
might
next
try.
week. No
yeah,
shit.
I might see it in Boston. I'm going to try and go see a game at Fenway. I'm in Boston.
Okay.
If I
Are
can't,
they in
though,
town? Have you confirmed they're in town?
They are in town. If I can't, though, then I'm going to try and go see Guardians 3. Dude, last thing, this is random. I'm going to San Francisco for work later in July, right? And the week I'm there, the A's, the Giants, and the Sacramento minor league team are all playing away. So I was going to try and go see an A's game with Trey before they
It
moved.
sucks.
And
That
I
does
can't.
suck. What
Anyway.
about how far of a drive is it down to L.A.?
7 hours.
Yeah, you could make that work.
Yep. But we have tickets to the Braves Dodgers coming up in a few weeks.
Yes, we do. We also have tickets to
Mets. Yeah.
Nice.
Mets. All right, but cool. But yeah, see you guys next week.
Peace.
Bye.
But Is It Good Podcast. Yeah.